Alright, so I'm going to be practicing here my uni presentation with the OBS here. We're trying to get within 7 minutes. Complete the PowerPoint. So let's do it. Alright. Hi everyone. So a critical lens at video games, jumping right into it. We're looking at Ridley Scott's Alien and the video game adaptation Alien Isolation, with a quick content warning for a bit of friendly swearing and some jump scary clips throughout, so keep that in mind. But if we're going to be critically analyzing these two texts, right, these adaptations, we need to define a lens. So the readings that we've done this week identify some problems with video game criticism, right? We have some essentialisms to avoid, we've got this debate we need to avoid, evaluating the medium we need to avoid. So I just want to use Hutchins' definition of adaptation as a product and as a process to cut through all of this stuff and focus my analysis. So starting with the first reading, Ricardo Fassone's Notoriously Bad, to understand video game adaptations as a product. We look down here, we see context. So he says about all the video games that players can control characters in recognizable environments, but much of the contextualization was still provided by the paratextual apparatus. This is important, and it might seem obvious, but it's really important to think about video games drawing context from the source to a massive extent in the early forms of the medium. And we come up here to intertext as well, which links together. Adapted texts, so video game adaptations, enter the space with the approbation and or notoriety of the source. So really considering that the product of an adaptation is closely linked to the source is really going to help us analyze what's going on in my analysis. So Ripley here wants to compare how we react to the alien in some different adaptations and compare them to the source, kind of in this way that we've been modeled. So let's have a look.
It's not good, man.
We're going to see the different reactions to the alien across his adaptations and see if you can spot some differences.
God damn.
He doesn't seem too fast. He does.
I jumped so hard. Oh my god. I feel like I was getting attacked in that direction, yeah. You're fucking true.
No, he's gonna come in.
Holy shit!
A little bit different from the Fortnite clip, right? And this is obviously the original movie. Alright, so Fassone's interpretation of this intertext and context relationship to the source is obviously true, right? The alien is there in different extents throughout all of those. But how can we explain those different reactions critically? Well, we can use the other reading, Kevin Flanagan's video game adaptation, to understand how the process interacts with our reactions here. So he says the basic conceit of video games is the attempt to make texts of one genre in one medium playable, making an experience playable, right? That is obviously true across all of those adaptations we looked at. But the next quote, doing so while adapting the effective regime of the author's work. This is what we want to focus in on. Effective regime. How does the source try to make us feel, and to what extent does the adaptation try and make us feel a similar way? The Fortnite adaptation is different to the Alien Isolation example because of the way that adaptation is trying to make us feel. Okay, so to quickly sum it up, video game adaptations rely on their source for context and intertext. Adaptations have different effects when interpreting the effective regime of the source. So with that out of the way, we can analyze Alien Isolation as an adaptation in both of these ways. So let's do it. Let's look as you can see here, I'm reflecting on how the game uses mechanics to reflect on the effective regime of the source. So here we have the source, the Alien movie. Got this motion detector. It's big, it's clunky. Ripley carrying it around obviously feels vulnerable. She doesn't want to carry it around when she's alone. It's big and clunky, and it's hard to maneuver. Here we have the DLC where we're playing as Ripley. As seen in the movie, we have the same motion detector. And it's big and clunky. You can see we can't use that motion detector when we're hiding from the alien in a small space. We're in a locker, a vent, under a table. We can't use this motion detector because it's big and clunky. And it has the same effect. We've attached the effective regime of these two texts because it makes us feel vulnerable. If I'm hiding, I don't know where the alien is. I can't come out because I'm scared to come out of my hiding place because I don't know where the alien is. Here we have the Alien Isolation base game where we're not playing as Ripley, right? This motion detector we can use while we're hiding in a locker because it's small. It's like a little phone. So consider how that is different to the effective regime of the source. Rather than the motion detector making us feel vulnerable and taking away our knowledge of the alien, this kind of abandons that effective regime of the source. It's allowing us to use the motion detector at all times and feel more confident about knowing where the alien is, unlike the source. So see how my application and analysis of the ways that these adaptations interact with the effective regime let me critically compare these two texts, right? So quick conclusion. Analyzing video game adaptations in this way allows us to interrogate, appreciate, and evaluate affective differences, how these texts make us feel. And this week's readings informed this dialogue that I used because and through their definitions of video game adaptation. And yeah, I got a works cited, of course, and any questions. So bang, right on the money, right on the 7-minute dot. That is what you love to see. Thank you for watching.